Jonas Wakefield jolted awake to the cold, blue light of the emergency system blinking above him. He sat up, his mind grappling with the fog of an untimely awakening. As he scanned the dimly lit cryo chamber, a sense of dread settled over him. The room should have been silent, yet a shrill alarm pierced the quiet, accompanied by a flashing red light from the terminal beside his pod. "What's going on?" he murmured, his voice echoing slightly in the compact space. Swinging his legs out of the pod, Jonas stumbled to the terminal, his fingers trembling as they danced over the touch screen. Rows of error messages flooded the display. He tapped the communication button repeatedly, trying to contact the bridge or any other crew member, but was met only with static. "Ship status," he commanded, his voice firm despite the unease knotting in his stomach. The AI's voice, usually calm and assuring, sounded distorted. "Critical error detected. Life support and navigation remain intact, but cryogenic revival has malfunctioned. Early awakening protocol initiated for one crew member. Jonas Wakefield. Is there anyone else awake?" Jonas asked, scanning the rows of pods, hoping to see signs of life. Negative. All other pods remain in operational stasis. Estimated time to destination: 85 years. 85 years. The weight of the words hit Jonas hard. He would be long gone by the time the ship reached Novaterra. Panic rose in his chest, but he swallowed it down. There had to be a solution. Determined, Jonas accessed the crew manifest, scrolling through names until one caught his eye: Dr. Leo Carrington, an aerospace engineer. If anyone could help him figure this out, it was Leo. Making his way through the narrow, steel corridors of the Argonaut, Jonas reached Leo's pod. He hesitated, his hand hovering over the manual override. Waking another soul meant dooming them to the same fate. But the silence was suffocating, and the thought of facing decades alone was unbearable. With a deep breath, Jonas pressed the button. The pod hissed open, and Leo emerged, coughing and blinking against the harsh light. "What's happening?" Leo's voice was groggy, his eyes wide with confusion. "We have a situation," Jonas explained quickly. "The cryosystem's malfunctioned. It's just us for the next 85 years. Leo took a moment to process the information, his engineering mind already turning over the problem. "Let's get to the control room. There might be something we can do." Together, they navigated through the labyrinthine ship to the heart of the control room, a sprawling network of screens and controls that managed the Argonaut's course through space. They spent hours poring over diagnostics and systems, searching for any possible fix that might allow them to re-enter stasis. As the ship's day cycle lights dimmed to simulate evening, Jonas turned to Leo. "If we can't fix this, we need a plan to handle being awake for so long." Leo nodded, his face set in a determined frown. "First, let's make sure the ship will keep us alive. Then we'll figure out how to live." The two men worked side by side, finding solace in their shared mission. In the silence of space, with countless stars as their silent audience, Jonas and Leo set about securing their survival, their minds united against the void. Their tasks were clear: sustain the ship, sustain themselves, and somehow find a way to sustain hope without the promise of a destination. The control room's dim light cast long shadows as Jonas and Leo continued to probe the ship systems. The silence between them was filled with the soft clicking of keyboards and occasional murmurs of frustration. Hours turned into days, and the reality of their situation began to solidify. "Any luck with the cryo controls?" Jonas asked, rubbing his eyes tiredly. Leo shook his head, his face illuminated by the soft glow of the computer screen. "No, everything points to a major failure in the main control module. It's not just a software glitch, it's hardware. We need a full workshop to fix this, not just what we have on board." Jonas sighed and leaned back in his chair. "What about communications? Any chance we could reach Earth or the forward base on Mars?" "Still working on that," Leo replied, typing rapidly. "The main antenna alignment is off by just a few degrees, but it's enough to make a massive difference. I'll need to do a spacewalk to adjust it manually." Jonas nodded. "Let's prioritize that. If we can get a message out, maybe they can send help or at least advice." The next few hours were spent preparing for the spacewalk. Jonas checked the suit seals and life support systems, while Leo reviewed the exterior schematics of the ship. Ready to head out? Jonas asked as he helped Leo into his spacesuit. As ready as I'll ever be, Leo answered, his voice slightly muffled by the helmet. Jonas watched from the airlock control as Leo stepped into the vacuum of space. He guided him via radio, keeping an eye on the ship's external cameras. Left a bit. There, you should see the access panel now, Jonas instructed. Got it. Leo's voice crackled through the speaker. The camera feed showed him removing the panel with practiced ease and adjusting the antenna's alignment. Okay, try now, Leo said after a few minutes. Jonas sent a burst transmission to Earth, holding his breath as the signals raced across the vast emptiness. Moments later, a faint ping echoed in the control room. We have a link, but it's weak. I'll send a distress call and our status update. Let's hope it reaches someone, Jonas said, a mix of relief and anxiety in his voice. With Leo back inside and their immediate task completed, the two men sat in the control room, waiting for any kind of response. Days passed with no reply, and the weight of their isolation grew heavier. Jonas found himself staring at the stars more often, each one a distant sun with its own possibilities. It's like the universe doesn't even know we're here, Jonas said quietly one evening. Leo looked over, his expression thoughtful. Maybe it doesn't need to know. Maybe we just need to make sure we know we're here, for each other. Jonas smiled faintly. Philosophical. I like it, but I think I need more than philosophy right now. I need a plan. We need supplies, a routine, and a way to keep sane. You're right, Leo agreed. First, let's inventory what we have. Food, water, medical supplies. Then we'll set up a daily schedule, work, exercise, recreation. We'll keep each other in check. Sounds like a plan, Jonas said, feeling a bit more grounded. And maybe, just maybe, we should start looking at those long-term projects we joked about. If we're going to be here for a while, we might as well make the most of it. Exactly, Leo nodded. Let's start by mapping out potential improvements to the ship. Efficiency upgrades, maybe even some comforts. If this is going to be home, let's make it a good one. Together, they started to plot out their new world aboard the Argonaut, slowly transforming it from a mere vessel of survival into a place they could almost call home. Through shared tasks and goals, Jonas and Leo built not just a routine, but a partnership strong enough to face the endless night around them. In the relative quiet of the ship's library, Jonas sat surrounded by digital manuals and schematic projections. The hum of the ship's engines provided a constant backdrop as he studied the intricate details of the environmental control systems. Across the table, Leo was deeply engrossed in programming a new resource management algorithm. Jonas broke the silence, looking up from his screen. You know, for all the tech we have on board, I'm surprised how manual this process is. Leo chuckled without looking up. Yeah, it's like they planned for everything except actual people needing to do real work after a system crash. Speaking of manual processes, Jonas began hesitantly. I've been thinking about the other pods. Leo set his tablet down, his expression turning serious. What about them? Well, it's just us for now, and we're managing, but what if we woke up someone else? Another set of hands could help, and honestly, another voice wouldn't hurt either. Leo rubbed his chin, contemplating. It's a big decision. We were woken up by mistake, and here we are, dealing with it. But to wake someone else up, I know it's not a decision to take lightly, Jonas interrupted. But think about it. Someone with medical expertise, or another engineer. It could make a big difference. Leo sighed, leaning back in his chair. It's not just about the work, Jonas. It's about the morale. We're social creatures. It's tough going it alone, even tougher for just the two of us. Exactly, Jonas replied, feeling a spark of hope. So, who do you think we should wake? After a lengthy discussion, they agreed on Dr. Harrison Cole, a systems biologist whose expertise could be invaluable not only for maintaining their life support systems, but also for managing their long-term sustenance. Moving through the quiet corridors to the cryo chamber, the weight of their decision pressed upon them. Standing in front of Harrison's pod, Jonas looked over at Leo. You ready for this? As ready as I'll ever be, Leo replied, his hand hovering over the revival controls. With a mutual nod, Jonas initiated the wake-up sequence. The pod hissed and slowly opened, revealing Harrison, who coughed violently as he came to consciousness. "Wow, what's going on?" Harrison's voice was hoarse, his eyes squinting in the dim light. "Take it easy, Harrison. I'm Jonas, and this is Leo. You've been woken up due to a system failure. We need your help," Jonas explained gently, offering a hand to help him out of the pod. Harrison sat up, looking bewildered. "How long have I been out? What's the status of the mission?" Leo stepped forward. "We're still en route, but there's been a major malfunction. It's just us now, and we're trying to manage the situation as best we can." The trio spent the rest of the day in the control room, where Jonas and Leo brought Harrison up to speed on everything that had happened and what they had planned moving forward. "All right, I understand the situation now," Harrison said after a long silence. "It's not ideal, but you're right. We need all hands on deck." Over the next several weeks, they worked tirelessly to improve their living conditions and optimize the ship's operations. Harrison's biological expertise proved invaluable, particularly in enhancing their food production systems and managing waste recycling. Their evenings were spent in the communal area of the ship, where they shared meals and stories from Earth, forging a bond forged by shared circumstances. They established a routine that included daily workouts, regular maintenance checks, and continuous monitoring of the ship's trajectory and systems. "Thanks for bringing me into this," Harrison said one evening as they looked out at the stars zooming past. "It's strange, but there's something about facing this together that makes it feel a bit more bearable." Jonas and Leo nodded in agreement, each feeling the strength of their growing camaraderie. As they continued their journey through the stars, not just as crew but as companions, they proved that even in the depths of space, human connection could thrive. Weeks turned into months aboard the Argonaut. Jonas, Leo, and Harrison had established a seamless routine that kept the ship running efficiently and their morale reasonably high. This morning, however, a new challenge awaited them in the main control room. "Looks like we've got a slight problem with the oxygen recyclers," Harrison reported, looking up from the environmental monitor. The concern in his voice was evident. Jonas leaned over his shoulder to take a look at the readings. "That doesn't look slight, Harry. Oxygen levels shouldn't fluctuate that much. What's going on?" Leo joined them, his brow furrowed as he studied the data. "Could be a blockage or a filter issue. We should check the physical units in the life support sector." "Agreed," Jonas said, pulling up the maintenance manual on his tablet. "Let's gear up and head down there. Better to handle this sooner rather than later." The trio made their way to the life support sector, a dense maze of piping and machinery that hummed quietly, oblivious to the human concerns about its performance. They split up to inspect the various components of the oxygen recycling system. After an hour of checking and rechecking, Leo called out from behind a large conduit. "Found something. You guys might want to see this." Jonas and Harrison quickly joined him, squeezing into the tight space. Leo pointed to a series of small, almost imperceptible cracks in one of the main conduits. "This is our culprit. Air's leaking out here. We'll need to patch this up and check for more damage." "Good catch, Leo," Harrison said, patting him on the back. "Let's get the repair kit and fix these cracks." Working together in the cramped conditions, they managed to seal the conduit and restore the integrity of the system. After repressurizing the affected section, they returned to the control room to monitor the results. As they waited for the oxygen levels to stabilize, Jonas brought up a new screen on the main display. "While we're at it, I think we should run a full diagnostic on all life support systems. If we missed this until it was almost a problem, there might be other issues we're not seeing." Leo nodded. "Makes sense. Harrison, can you handle the diagnostics? You're the quickest with the system analysis software." "Sure thing," Harrison replied, settling in front of the terminal. His fingers flew over the controls as he set up a comprehensive suite of diagnostics. The room fell quiet, the only sound the occasional beep from the monitors and the distant hum of the ship. Each man was lost in thought, considering the vastness of their journey and the reliance on each other for survival. After a while, the diagnostic results began to populate on the screen. Harrison whistled softly. "Looks like we've got our work cut out for us. A few minor issues here and there, but nothing we can't handle." "Let's make a schedule," Jonas suggested. Tackle the most critical repairs first, then move on to the less urgent ones. Keep things organized. And let's keep up with the regular checks, Leo added. Maybe increase the frequency. We can't afford any more surprises. Agreed, Jonas said, making notes on his tablet. It's all about staying ahead of the game. With a plan in place, the men felt a renewed sense of purpose. They spent the rest of the day repairing and optimizing the ship systems, each task completed bringing a small sense of achievement. As they gathered for dinner later that evening, the atmosphere was light, the earlier tension replaced by jokes and shared laughter. You know, Harrison started, a grin spreading across his face. In a way, it's like the ship is keeping us on our toes, testing us. Then let's keep passing these tests, Jonas replied, raising his water glass in a toast. To staying sharp and staying alive. To staying sharp, Leo and Harrison echoed, clinking glasses. Their camaraderie solidified through shared challenges and triumphs. The trio faced the vast unknown with a collective strength, each man playing a vital role in not just surviving, but thriving amidst the stars. Several months into their unexpected journey, Jonas, Leo, and Harrison found themselves adapting to life in space with a rhythm that felt almost like normalcy. On a particularly quiet evening, the trio sat in the observatory module, a rare space aboard the Argonaut where one could gaze at the cosmos beyond the protective glass. The stars seem different when you know you're not going to see Earth for a long, long time, Jonas mused, his eyes fixed on a distant constellation. Yeah, they do, Harrison agreed, pulling up a star map on the screen beside them. But at the same time, it's a constant reminder of how much is out there. Makes you wonder what other secrets the universe holds. Leo, usually the more pragmatic of the three, chuckled. Secrets that hopefully include a faster way back home, he joked, but his smile was tinged with longing. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the main console. Jonas stood up to check it. Looks like the deep space scanners picked up something unusual. An anomaly of some sort, not far from our current trajectory. An anomaly? What kind of anomaly? Harrison asked, curiosity piqued as he joined Jonas at the console. It's unclear. The readings are odd, unlike typical cosmic phenomena. It could be worth altering our course to investigate, Jonas suggested, looking back at both of his crewmates for their input. Altering course for an unknown? That's risky, Leo pointed out, his brow furrowed. But think about it, Harrison countered, his voice filled with excitement. This could be a discovery of a lifetime. New data, maybe even a new type of celestial body or phenomenon. Jonas nodded. It's a calculated risk. We have the supplies, and our systems are stable. If there's ever a time to explore, it's now when we've got nothing scheduled. Leo sighed, then smiled wryly. Well, when you put it like that, how can I say no? Let's prepare for a minor detour. The next few days were spent recalibrating their instruments and adjusting their course to bring them closer to the source of the anomaly. As they approached, the excitement aboard the Argonaut grew palpable. All right, we're coming into optimal range now, Jonas announced as he carefully maneuvered the ship to maintain a safe distance. Scanners are fully engaged. Let's see what the universe has in store for us. The screens flickered and refreshed, pulling up data that made Harrison let out a low whistle. Guys, you're going to want to see this. The scanners aren't malfunctioning. This anomaly, it's not just a cloud of dust or gas. It's emitting energy patterns that are off the charts. Leo leaned over the console, analyzing the data. It's almost like it's a beacon. A beacon? Jonas questioned, intrigued by the implication. Are you suggesting it's artificial? I don't know, Harrison replied, zooming in on the imagery. But whatever it is, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. We could be the first humans to discover evidence of, well, something new. The crew spent several hours documenting the anomaly, capturing as much data as possible. The excitement of discovery brought them together in a new way, each man contributing his expertise to unravel the mystery. Once they had gathered extensive readings and images, Jonas made a decision. We'll send all of this data back to Earth. Whether we figure out what this is or not, we've achieved something incredible today. That's right, Leo agreed, clapping Jonas on the back. And who knows? Maybe this will change the course of human understanding. Harrison nodded solemnly. Whatever happens, we explored. That's what we're out here for, isn't it? To reach out into the unknown. As they set their course back to their original trajectory, the sense of achievement was mixed with a renewed sense of purpose. They had touched the fabric of the cosmos in a way none had expected, and that experience bonded them even more deeply. The universe was vast and mysterious, but on board the Argonaut, it felt a little more within reach. It was an ordinary day aboard the Argonaut, with the crew engaged in their usual routines, when the calm was shattered by an unexpected alert from the communication console. Jonas was the first to react, rushing to the terminal to check the source. "What's going on?" Leo asked as he followed closely behind. "I'm not sure yet," Jonas replied, his fingers flying over the controls. "We're receiving some sort of transmission, but it's not from Earth." Harrison joined them, wiping his hands on a cloth. "A transmission? From where then?" "That's what I'm trying to figure out." Jonas adjusted the frequency, attempting to isolate the signal. "It's weak and intermittent, but definitely there." The men listened intently as Jonas fine-tuned the equipment, and slowly, a pattern emerged from the static. A series of pulses that seemed deliberate and structured. "It's a code," Harrison observed, leaning closer. "But unlike any I've seen before. Could it be a natural phenomenon? Like a pulsar or something?" Leo suggested, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Too regular for a natural source," Jonas countered, his excitement building. "It's got to be artificial. Someone or something is intentionally sending this message. An alien transmission?" Leo said the words slowly, the possibility dawning on him. "It seems likely," Harrison agreed. "We need to decode this. It could be important." The next few hours were a blur of activity as the three men set up protocols to record and analyze the signal. Using every piece of decoding software available on the ship, they began the arduous task of breaking down the complex pattern of the transmission. "Here, look at this sequence," Jonas pointed out on the screen where they had begun to see repetitions and variations in the signal. "This could be a key to understanding the rest." Working together, they applied various cryptographic techniques, slowly piecing together the puzzle. As they decoded parts of the message, their anticipation grew. This could be a momentous discovery. "Got something," Harrison finally announced, his voice a mixture of awe and disbelief. "It's a set of coordinates and a repeating sequence that seems like a greeting or a beacon call." "Coordinates? That means they're inviting us, or anyone who receives this, to find them," Leo said, trying to grasp the implications. "This is incredible," Jonas breathed out. "We're actually in contact with another intelligent life form. What do we do with this information?" Harrison asked, practical concerns coming to the forefront. "We can't just head off to these coordinates. We have a mission." "But this could be part of a bigger mission, Harry," Jonas argued. "We can't ignore this. What if we're meant to find them?" Leo, ever the cautious one, interjected, "Let's send the coordinates and our data back to Earth. They should decide how to proceed. Meanwhile, we can prepare for the possibility of altering our course." "Agreed," Harrison said. "But let's keep monitoring the signal, see if we get anything more." For the next few days, the Argonaut was alive with a new kind of energy. Jonas, Leo, and Harrison were united in a shared mission that went beyond their original directives. This was exploration in its purest form, the search for new life and new civilizations. As they relayed their findings back to Earth, they debated and planned. Each man knew that they were standing on the edge of a monumental discovery, and despite the uncertainties and risks, there was a palpable excitement. "What if we're the first?" Leo mused one evening as they gathered in the observatory, staring out at the stars. "Then let's make sure we're not the last to reach out," Jonas replied, his gaze fixed on the infinite. With their message speeding towards Earth, carrying news of potential first contact, the crew of the Argonaut waited, hopeful and eager for the next chapter in their incredible journey through the stars. Several weeks had passed since the Argonaut crew had intercepted the mysterious alien signal. The excitement of the discovery had settled into a focused determination as they awaited further instructions from Earth. In the meantime, Jonas, Leo, and Harrison decided to continue their efforts to understand more about the source of the transmission. Leo was at the communication console, recalibrating the sensors to maintain a strong lock on the signal's origin. I've adjusted the array for maximum sensitivity. We should be able to pick up even the faintest whispers now. Jonas, who was poring over the data they had collected, looked up. We need to map out a trajectory based on these coordinates. If Earth gives us the green light, we'll be ready to go immediately. Harrison, meanwhile, was deep in thought, analyzing the repeating sequence they had decoded. This part here, he pointed at the screen, keeps showing up. It's definitely intentional, some sort of marker or identifier. Could be their version of a name or a title, maybe something about their location or status, Jonas speculated, leaning over Harrison's shoulder to get a better look. Or a greeting, Leo added, joining them. Imagine a universal hello across the stars. Their technical discussion was interrupted by a beep from the console. A message from Earth, finally responding to their findings, appeared on the screen. Jonas quickly opened it, his eyes scanning the content. They're cautious but curious, he reported. We're authorized to approach the coordinates cautiously and gather more data. No engagement without further instructions. That's our green light then, Leo said with a grin. Let's plot the course. The next few hours were spent in intense preparation. Jonas worked on the navigation systems, setting a course that would take them within a safe distance of the coordinates. Leo continued to enhance their communication capabilities, ensuring that they could send and receive messages without delay. Harrison focused on the scientific instruments, preparing them to analyze any physical or electromagnetic phenomena they might encounter. We need to be ready for anything. We don't know what we'll find out there. As the Argonaut slowly altered its course, the stars seemed to shift around them, a visible reminder of their journey into the unknown. The crew gathered in the observatory, watching as the coordinates input into the navigation system brought them closer to potentially making history. This is it, Jonas said, his voice filled with a mixture of excitement and nerves. No matter what happens, we're making the first steps towards answering some of the biggest questions out there. Yeah, Harrison agreed. Are we alone? Are we part of a bigger community in this vast universe? And how do we fit into it all? Leo added thoughtfully. The journey to the coordinates took several days, during which the crew monitored every system and signal closely. As they neared their destination, the instruments began to pick up unusual readings. Look at these energy patterns, Harrison pointed out, displaying the data on the main screen. They're structured, complex, unlike anything we've seen before. It's not just random noise. It's too organized. Could be evidence of advanced technology, Leo suggested, his eyes locked on the readouts. Or even a form of communication or energy transfer we don't yet understand. Jonas nodded, his focus on the path ahead. We're entering a new chapter here, not just for us, but for all of humanity. As the Argonaut finally reached the coordinates, the vastness of space around them seemed to pulse with potential. The unknown awaited them, filled with questions and possibilities. Whatever we find, Jonas declared as they stood together, facing the front viewport, we face it together. Agreed. Leo and Harrison responded in unison, the weight of their mission grounding them yet urging them forward. Together, they peered into the depths of space, ready to uncover the secrets held in the code of the stars. As the Argonaut edged closer to the mysterious coordinates, the crew felt a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. The sensors were alert for any signs of the anomaly they had been tracking, and every member was at their station, ready for what might come next. Approaching target location, Jonas announced, his voice steady despite the racing of his heart. All hands, stay alert. Leo, keep those communications open. Harrison, how do the readings look? Harrison glanced over the multiple screens displaying a myriad of data. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. The energy patterns are consistent but growing stronger as we approach. There's definitely something here. Leo adjusted the communication array, ensuring they could send and receive messages instantaneously. We're ready to broadcast or receive at a moment's notice. Whatever's out there, we won't miss it. Jonas nodded, focusing on the navigation. The stars stretched into lines as they traveled at sublight speeds, the darkness punctuated by the occasional flicker of distant cosmic phenomena. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared, a warning of proximity to a massive object. "We've got something," Jonas called out. Visuals coming up now. The main screen flickered and then displayed the image of a colossal structure floating in space. It was unlike any human-made design, with smooth, flowing lines and surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Is that a station?" Leo squinted at the screen, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. "More like a gateway," Harrison suggested, his eyes wide with awe. "See how it's positioned? It could be a portal or a hub of some sort." Jonas made a few adjustments to their orbit, bringing them into a stationary position relative to the structure. "Let's not jump to any conclusions, but it's certainly built by someone, and it's huge." The crew worked together, analyzing every aspect of the structure. Jonas coordinated their efforts, ensuring that they maintained a safe distance while gathering as much data as possible. "Let's try communicating," Jonas decided. "Leo, send a standard greeting sequence. See if there's any response." Leo complied, sending out a series of controlled, benign signals towards the structure. They waited in tense silence, watching the screens for any sign of activity. Minutes ticked by without a response, and the crew's initial excitement gave way to frustration. Then, suddenly, the structure lit up, lines of light tracing across its surface in complex patterns. "It's responding," Harrison exclaimed, recording all patterns now. "It looks like it's communicating." "Analyzing the response," Leo said, his fingers flying over the controls. "It's a language, structured, complex. I'll need time to decode it." As Leo worked on the language, Jonas and Harrison discussed their next moves. "We should keep a continuous watch on this structure. Anything changes, I want to know immediately," Jonas instructed. "Understood," Harrison replied, his gaze locked on the luminous patterns playing across the structure. Over the next several hours, Leo made significant progress. "I think I've cracked part of it," he announced, breaking the intense concentration. "It's a welcome message, an invitation to approach and learn." "Then let's not keep our host waiting," Jonas said, decision in his voice. "Prepare the shuttle. We're going in." The preparation was meticulous, ensuring every possible safety measure was in place. Soon, Jonas, Leo, and Harrison were aboard the shuttle, making their cautious approach to the alien structure. As they docked smoothly with the structure, the internal bay doors opened, revealing a vast interior that beckoned them forward. Stepping into the alien construct, the crew felt a surge of exhilaration mixed with a profound sense of responsibility. They were not just explorers but ambassadors on the threshold of a new chapter for humanity. "Whatever we find here," Jonas said as they moved forward into the unknown, "it changes everything." Together, they walked deeper into the structure, ready to face whatever wonders or challenges lay ahead. This was not just a journey across space but into the future, a step into a broader universe where humanity was no longer alone. As they moved forward, the unity and shared purpose among them never felt more profound. They were ready to meet the unknown, together,